Hello, military and aerospace enthusiasts. Welcome to our channel, Deep Dive Defense. Over here we take a deep look from unusual angles, which may challenge your mind. So let's dive right in. The Israeli response to Operation True Promise took place under several restrictive and constraining conditions. The United States had made it clear that a further escalation of the conflict was not acceptable to it, and the burden placed on Israel's military resources to defend against the limited Iranian salvo had already decreased its stockpiles of interceptors and other resources to a notable extent. However, the most challenging aspect was that Iran had already set a definitive and official scale for how it would respond to any Israeli action on its soil. Iran threatened literally to increase the increase in salvo size tenfold if Israel struck back on Iranian territory. In such a case, the interceptor stockpiles would not be notably but significantly depleted. Several days passed before Israel's response came, which was not officially claimed, enabling the operation to remain in the realm of plausible deniability. This typical strike methodic without responsibility taken is something observed frequently around Iran and Syria. In Iran, sabotage assets, such as quadcopters and bombs placed in equipment, are used to perform limited-scale attacks. The response would not involve critical assets at Israel's disposal, such as mass attacks by one-way attack drones, cruise missiles, air-launched ballistic missiles, medium-range ballistic missiles, or even nuclear weapons. Israel instead designed its response through two components that would not constitute to a direct strike, avoiding entering the criteria of Iran's threat to respond in a tenfold scale. The two components were the activation of Israel's sabotage assets, particularly an infamous type of incendiary quadcopter, which are easy to smuggle into Iran via its large, nearly 6,000-kilometer-long borders with relative low security. Smuggling routes, such as via the mountainous regions of Kurdistan or Balochistan, are believed to be used. Given Iran's vast size and nearly 90 million population, controlling these borders tightly is not only very challenging, but nearly impossible. These sabotage assets, along with personnel inside Iran to employ it, can be activated by Israel at will. Israel decided to activate one of these sabotage assets in Isfahan, targeting the 8th Shahid Babai airbase with such quadcopters. This did not punish the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Aerospace Force, which was responsible for the strike in Israel, but instead targeted the Shah-era Air Force, exploiting the element of surprise. The focus was on the Army Air Defense Force's S-300 PMU-2 site, specifically the fire control radar responsible for missile guidance and target illumination, critical for the function of the battery. Simultaneously, several, around 3 to 5, air-launched ballistic missiles from the Sparrow missile decoy family were launched. Similar to the Israeli Rock's missile weapon, it is not known if these were original Blue Sparrow inert warhead decoy missiles, or an yet unknown weaponized variant with the explosive warhead. The Rox is an air-launched ballistic missile based on the Black Sparrow, and without a separable warhead, offered for export. It is designed to act like a ballistic missile, but makes use of Israel's large fleet of air power assets like the F-15 and F-16 for its deployment and launch. The missiles used in this response were the more advanced Blue Sparrow variant, featuring separable a warhead. Footage of the remains show empty high-end carbon fiber rocket booster casings, suggests they were launched from a significant distance. Whether these were secret new weapons or just Sparrow decoy warheads remains unclear. What is clear is that the Blue Sparrow variant had a separable warhead, like the original. But the unguided re-entry vehicle of the original was just a decoy, with no precision strike requirements. A weaponized Blue Sparrow for useful military use would hence require a newly developed maneuverable re-entry vehicle. Whether this is the case with the missiles fired remains unknown. The most likely scenario is that F-15s launch these missiles from within or just outside Israeli airspace, traveling around 1,000 kilometers and landing near the Iranian border in Iraq. The boosters followed shortly behind, flying without being drastically decelerated by drag due to the low drag conditions in the upper atmosphere. This phenomenon is similar to what happened with the remains of Ahmad and Ghadr ballistic missile booster stages found in Israel after the previous April 2024 strikes. These empty boosters, often falsely identified as failed missiles, actually traveled with their warheads separated after the initial boost phase. The positions of these crashed boosters indicate that the warheads, explosive or inert, most likely did not enter Iranian territory, landing tens to 100 to 200 kilometers ahead of the boosters. The warhead impacts, whether inert within or outside Iran's territory, served as a capability display to Iran. The message was clear. Israel possesses missiles capable of reaching Iran's sensitive nuclear sites and potentially capable of penetrating defenses due to their hypersonic velocity. Several weeks later, Israel unveiled the Air-LORA air-launched ballistic missile, interpreted as an indirect message to Iran. The Air-LORA is significantly longer range than the Rocks and possess a heavier warhead. If launched over the secure Mediterranean, it may well be able to hit Iran's nuclear sites, or even Tehran. The unveiling of the Air-LORA lends credence to the scenario of Israel having launched standard Blue Sparrow decoy missiles with inert warheads, and not a secret specially developed weaponized variant of the Blue Sparrow. In summary, the limited number of missiles launched, most likely 3, also signaled to Iran that these weapons exist, and that Israel could escalate if Iran further responded disproportionately. This display of capability introduced Israel's new emphasis on air-launched ballistic missiles, demonstrating Israel's ability to reach sensitive sites in Iran and the challenges Iran would face intercepting such high-speed, maneuverable, high-altitude air-launched ballistic missiles. Iran's still limited deployment of indigenous surface-to-air and missile defense systems like the Bavar 373 and Arman, capable of engaging these missiles, and the restricted number of available S-300 batteries highlight the strategic implications. The attack on the S-300 site, with their success uncertain, sent a message that Israel could target defensive systems protecting against air-launched ballistic missiles using its in-country sabotage assets. However, since these sabotage assets are ineffective against hardened targets, it is clear why soft and fragile equipment is targeted by Israel. From satellite footage, it's not clear whether just the camouflage net set up around the radar was set on fire or the radar sustained irreparable damage. The quickly released satellite photos of the strike, which are of good quality, do not conclusively clarify this matter. What is certain is that no high supersonic kinetic projectile, like a missile, hit the radar, as its shape appears fully intact as well as surrounding terrain. Whether such covert sabotage assets could be used in a strike scenario with air-launched ballistic missiles to disable Iran's missile defenses is questionable. The first time, the Army Air Defense Force did almost certainly not expect to be part of the Israeli retaliation, should it happen at all. Such sites are not 24/7 on alert against quadcopter-type threats, especially not during peacetime. The Israeli strike had a very small detectable signature, potentially involving just 2 or 3 fighter jets deploying the missiles, not triggering an alert for Iran's military. In a serious scenario where Israel intends to saturate Iran's missile defenses, the operation signature would be larger, whether observed by forward human spotters or early warning radar systems detecting the incoming projectiles. In essence, Israel demonstrated the operation that it could strike Iran without risking air crews of fighter jets, using weapons which can be potentially equipped with sub-caliber earth-penetrating payloads to be used against hardened targets. By not claiming responsibility for the sabotage attack or air-launched ballistic missiles, Israel avoided crossing Iran's red lines while showcasing its capabilities. This represented a significant action, in which Israel rather elegantly displayed its capabilities without provoking a disproportionate response from Iran. This action mirrored Iran's need to demonstrate its claimed but never combat-tested long-range strike capabilities during Operation True Promise. Both nations used real actions to confirm their capabilities, making it clear that these were credible and operational. Ultimately, the Israeli operation was not intended to bring the escalation dominance back to its side. However, this brief military exchange marked the first direct confrontation between the two nations. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video and like our work, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. We will try our best to answer your comments. Your support would be greatly appreciated and motivates to produce more content in the future. Thank you, and have a great day.